Hi, I bring you the Nigerian top news recap from the 16th of March 2025 to the 22nd of March 2025. My name is Adam Albarka and I hope you are doing great. Trending in Nigeria last week was the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. On the 18th of March 2025, the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, citing political instability and security concerns. The move saw the suspension of the governor of the state, Siminalayi Fubara, and his deputy and the state assembly members for 6 months. Tinubu appointed retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as the interim administrator to restore the governance and security in the state. The declaration was ratified by the National Assembly on the 20th of March 2025, sparking backlash across the country. Several groups, including the South-South Governors Forum, criticized the move, questioning its justification. The forum argued that the constitutional conditions for such an emergency had not been met, calling for dialogue instead of federal intervention. The PDP Governors Forum also condemned the suspension of Fubara, labeling it a grievous mistake. They accused Tinubu of bias, especially in his silence over the role of Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in the crisis. In addition, the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) expressed concerns, urging the president to reconsider his decisions and reverse it. The NBA emphasized its commitment to upholding democratic principles and the rule of law. The PDP Governors Forum, in alliance with the NBA, is considering legal action to challenge the suspension, arguing that it threatened democracy and national stability. In business news last week, Dangote Refinery halts selling petrol in Naira. Dangote Refinery has reportedly stopped selling petrol in Naira due to a discrepancy between the revenue from Naira sales and the Naira-based crude oil it had been receiving from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPCL). The refinery stated that it needed to align the currency used for buying crude oil, which is US dollars, with the currency used for selling petrol, which had been Naira. The refinery assured that it remained dedicated to serving the Nigerian market and would resume selling petrol in Naira once it received crude oil allocation in the local currency. However, this decision has raised concerns over possible increases in fuel prices, especially as a price war continues between Dangote Refinery and NNPCL. The $20 billion refinery was inaugurated in May 2023 as part of the effort to reduce Nigeria's dependence on imported refined petroleum products. Initially, petroleum sales were conducted in US dollars, but in July 2024, the Federal Executive Council instructed NNPCL to sell crude oil to Dangote and other local refineries in Naira. This move was seen to stabilize prices and ease pressure on Nigeria's dollar reserves. A 6-month agreement between NNPCL and Dangote Refinery allowed crude oil purchase in Naira but expired in March 2025. As discussions continue to renew the deal, the refinery has decided to pause Naira transactions until a new agreement is reached. So last week, Nnamdi Kanu apologized to justice involved in his trial. Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, apologized for his verbal attacks on Justice Binta Nyako and others involved in his trial. His new counsel, Chief Kanu Agabi, SAN, told the court that Kanu had been angry for a long time and regretted his statement. Agabi also informed the judge that Kanu extended apologies to the federal government's lawyer, Adegboyega Awumulo, SAN, and his former legal team. The prosecution reportedly accepted the apology and assured the court that they would work towards a speedy trial. Justice James Omotosho, who is now handling the case, stated that the length of the legal process might have contributed to Kanu's frustration. Kanu's wife, Uchechi Kanu, later issued a statement explaining why her husband had apologized. She reportedly stated that Agabi's high status as a former attorney general required him to address the court and restore decorum. She noted that Kanu's previous outburst had led to Justice Nyako's recusal and that Agabi's intervention was meant to ease tensions. Kanu is currently facing 7 terrorism-related charges linked to his call for an independent Igbo state. Reports indicated that his case, first filed 10 years ago, had been restarted under Justice Omotosho. Khan was initially arrested in 2015 upon his arrival from the UK and was later granted bail in 2017 on health grounds. However, sources revealed that he fled after security forces raided his home. In 2021, he was rearrested in Kenya and extradited to Nigeria, where he has remained in the custody of the Department of the State Service (DSS). So last week, a Nigerian made an outstanding contribution to global research. A Nigerian scientist, Chukwuma Hilary Akpu, has made a remarkable contribution to global scientific research with his groundbreaking study on worm mating behavior. Akpu, whose work was recently published in an internationally recognized journal, has leveraged artificial intelligence (AI) to automate and improve the analysis of animal behavior, marking a significant advancement in biological research. Akpu's team reported to have used AI technology to track the movement of tiny nematode worms, which have long been used for studies in genetics and neurobiology. Previously, tracking these microscopic creatures manually was an arduous and time-consuming task. Akpu's system has drastically reduced the time required for this process and improved its accuracy. This innovation has wide implications for research in genetics, neuroscience, and environmental science. Akpu's sources also highlight Nigeria's growing presence in AI-driven research, proving that Nigerian scientists can compete on a global scale. Lastly, in the news, Senator Natasha spoke out on alleged sexual harassment against the Senate President of Nigeria. Senator Natasha, in a recent interview granted to Deutsche Welle, Sky News, and BBC, spoke out about the sexual harassment allegations against the Nigerian Senate President. The senator detailed her experience, emphasizing that the alleged incident took place during a private meeting with the Senate President, where inappropriate advances were reportedly made. In her interviews, Senator Natasha remained composed, stating that she had refrained from publicly addressing the matter until now due to sensitive nature of the issue and her respect for the Senate institution. She explained that she had been forced to come forward after hearing a disturbing defense from the Senate President's supporters, which she felt misrepresented the truth. During the BBC interview, the senator highlighted a concerning court-like atmosphere within the Senate, which she described as an environment where questioning authority and challenging the leadership was met with several backlash. She expressed concerns that such a culture could discourage others from speaking out about misconduct. Senator Natasha urged for a transparent investigation and called for support for victims of harassment, emphasizing the need for accountability at all levels of government. Her statements have sparked widespread discussion across Nigerian media. So that's all on the trending news in Nigeria from the 16th to the 22nd of March 2025. History of the week from the 16th to the 23rd of March 1995. So, Nigeria saw key political and human rights events. On the 16th of March, FIFA decided not to host World Junior Championship in Nigeria, citing concerns about the country's human rights record under General Sani Abacha. On the same day, Abacha formed a new government with 36 ministers, 7 of whom were army officers. 2 days later, on the 18th of March, a trial began for 18 army officers accused of plotting against the government. The trial was held in secret, raising concerns about its fairness. On the 22nd of March, human rights lawyer Gani Fawehinmi questioned whether the coup plot even existed and called for a public trial. Abacha's control grew stronger, and on the 23rd of March, he ordered the restriction of General Olusegun Obasanjo, a former military leader, over his possible involvement in the alleged plot. This, alongside with the secret trial, showed the increasing political tensions in Nigeria under Abacha's rule. So that's all for this week. Do remember to get yourself informed about the Nigerian trending past news on this channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Have a great week.